In February of 2021, the Texas power grid collapsed during a winter storm. Millions of homes went dark. But the emergency did not begin when the lights went out. It began in stages. First, the heat stopped. Then, water systems failed. Then, stores emptied. Then, communications started breaking down. Most families think a blackout is a lighting problem. It is not. It is a timeline problem. The first piece of evidence is this. The first 72 hours decide whether a family stays calm or starts making dangerous decisions. So here is the question this file has to answer. If the grid goes down tonight, what is the first household system most families lose before they realize they are already behind? By the end of this file, you will know the first systems that fail in a long blackout, the 3 supplies that disappear faster than most people expect, the safest way to think about water, food, lighting, communication, and home security, and the one mistake that makes a stocked house feel unprepared by the second night. But first, there's a detail most people miss before the outage even begins. The first piece of evidence is not a generator, not a flashlight, not a basement full of canned food. It is the clock. Because a blackout is not one event, it is a countdown. Hour 0 feels almost harmless. The lights flicker, the refrigerator hum disappears, the television dies, the Wi-Fi drops. For a few minutes, most people wait. They assume the utility company will fix it. They look out the window. They check whether the neighbors still have power. They walk from room to room testing switches, as if the next switch will somehow change the result. This first hour is where the first mistake happens. People do nothing because nothing looks broken yet. The house is still warm. The freezer is still cold. The faucets still run. The phone still has battery. The car still has fuel. The pantry still looks full. But every one of those systems has already started spending a limited reserve. Here is what the data actually shows in practical terms. A refrigerator only protects food for a limited window if the door stays closed. A freezer buys more time, but only if it is full and left alone. A phone battery may look useful for a day, but if cellular networks become overloaded or backup towers start failing, the phone becomes a clock and a flashlight, not a lifeline. The first hour is not for panic buying. It is for stabilization. Stop opening the refrigerator. Fill clean containers with water while pressure still exists. Charge every power bank. Move flashlights, headlamps, batteries, and lanterns into one location. Turn off unnecessary appliances. Unplug sensitive electronics. Write down the last confirmed information before the signal disappears. Set one room as the safe room. Decide where people sleep if the house becomes too cold or too hot. Assign water, food, light, and communication before everyone becomes tired. 2 seconds here matter, because the family that organizes in hour 1 has options in hour 12. The first system most families lose is not electricity. They already know the power is gone. The first system they lose is normal decision-making. A dark house changes behavior. People waste batteries. They open the refrigerator repeatedly. They burn candles in unsafe places. They run cars, grills, or generators in dangerous locations. They assume the water will keep flowing. They use information too quickly and verify it too slowly. They walk outside without a flashlight. They split up without a plan. They argue over small decisions because nobody decided the rules before the emergency. A blackout exposes habits. If the normal routine depends on wall outlets, cold storage, hot meals, running water, automatic garage doors, digital maps, online banking, electric stoves, and constant updates, then the house is not prepared. It is only comfortable. But knowing the first hour is not enough. You need to know where the second failure begins. Between hour 6 and hour 12, the house starts changing. Food is still inside the refrigerator, but the safety clock is moving. Batteries begin to drop. Children get restless. Older adults get colder or hotter. Pets need water. Toilets may still flush, but only if the water system and household plumbing cooperate. People begin to realize that the outage may not end before morning, and this is where most emergency plans look better on paper than they do in a kitchen at midnight. A real plan answers small questions before they become big ones. Where are the lights? Where is the water? What food can be eaten without cooking? Who checks on the elderly neighbor? Which room becomes the safe room? Which radio station gives updates? Where is the manual can opener? Which door stays locked? Which windows are checked? Who decides when the family leaves? One detail changes everything. Water is not one supply. It is 3 supplies. Drinking water keeps people alive. Cooking water makes food usable. Hygiene water keeps the home from becoming unsafe. Many families store a few bottles and call it preparation. That is not water planning. That is a short delay. A useful baseline is simple. Plan at least 1 gallon per person per day for basic drinking and sanitation, then add more for heat, medical needs, pets, cooking, cleaning, and special conditions. For a family of 4, 72 hours can consume 12 gallons before comfort is even considered. That number surprises people because they count water by bottles, but emergencies spend water by tasks. Drinking, cooking, washing hands, cleaning a pot, taking medication, helping a pet, cleaning a spill, cooling someone down, keeping basic sanitation from breaking apart. And that opens the second loop. Why do people who own emergency supplies still fail within the first 72 hours? The answer is not about supplies. It is about something else entirely, and we're going to get there. Food becomes the next pressure point, not because the pantry is empty, but because the family does not know what to eat first. The correct order is not random. Use fresh food first if it can be eaten safely. Protect the refrigerator and freezer by opening them as little as possible. Move to shelf-stable meals that require no cooking or very little water. Save fuel for meals that truly need heat. Keep 1 manual can opener where everyone can find it. This sounds basic until the house is dark and everyone is hungry. A blackout meal plan should have 3 categories: no-cook foods, low-cook foods, comfort foods. No-cook foods keep you moving. Low-cook foods preserve fuel. Comfort foods protect morale. A family that eats randomly can waste the wrong food early and create a harder problem later. A family with a food order preserves cold storage, saves water, protects fuel, and keeps people calmer. The second night is where weak plans begin to show. Flashlights are dimmer, phones are lower, the freezer is becoming a decision. People are tired of cold food. The house may be too hot or too cold. If stores are open, they may be crowded. If gas stations have no power, the car is no longer a backup plan. If water pressure is gone, every task becomes slower. At this point, preparation is not about owning one perfect item. It is about layers. Light from batteries, lanterns, and headlamps. Communication from a battery radio and written contacts. Food from shelf-stable meals. Water from stored containers and safe filtration. Heat or cooling from room control, clothing, shade, ventilation, and safe movement. Sanitation from stored hygiene water, bags, wipes, gloves, and a plan. One layer fails, another remains. Preparation is not only about what you own during the first 72 hours. It is also about what your property can keep producing when ordinary systems stop working. Stored food buys time, but food production, water storage, preservation, and simple off-grid systems give your family something more valuable: options. That is why I want to show you the Self-Sufficient Backyard, a practical homesteading guide built from Ron and Johanna's 40 years of off-grid experience, covering food production, water collection, preservation, greenhouse systems, independent power, and dozens of DIY backyard projects. If you want to see how these systems can be adapted to your own space, use the Self-Sufficient Backyard link in the description. Start with the project that fits your property, your budget, and your current skills. Now, back to the file. because the next detail is where most emergency plans begin to fail. Security also changes by the second night. Not in the movie version, not chaos in the streets. The real version is quieter. A dark neighborhood attracts mistakes. People trip over objects. Doors are left unlocked. Garage doors fail. Outdoor lights are dead. Families argue about whether to leave. Someone goes outside with a dying phone and no flashlight. Someone runs an extension cord the wrong way. Someone lights candles near curtains. Someone tries to cook inside with equipment that belongs outside. The danger is not always another person. Often, the danger is a tired person making a bad decision in a house that no longer behaves normally. That is why the safest homes create rules before the outage. One safe room, one light station, one water station, one cooking area, one check-in schedule, one written contact sheet, one rule for refrigerator openings, one rule for generator distance, one rule for leaving. No improvising with fire indoors, no running engines inside garages, no guessing with carbon monoxide, no waiting until everyone is exhausted to make the first serious decision. This brings us back to where we started. What is the first household system most families lose before they realize they are already behind? It is not the lights. It is not the refrigerator. It is not the internet. It is control. The moment the grid fails, every hidden system in the house starts running on reserve. Heat, cooling, water, food safety, communication, lighting, fuel, sanitation, and judgment. A family that waits until those reserves are gone is not responding to the blackout. It is responding to the collapse of its own routine. That is the answer to the first loop. The first system to protect is the decision system. Information, order, assigned tasks, calm. Once control is protected, the next 72 hours become manageable. Hour 1, stabilize the house. Hour 6, protect water, cold food, light, and information. Hour 12, shift to a night plan. Hour 24, stop guessing and start rationing. Hour 36, decide what food must be used, what must stay sealed, and what must be discarded if it becomes unsafe. Hour 48, check on neighbors, fuel, sanitation, medical needs, and fatigue. Hour 72, make the stay or leave decision based on heat, cold, water, medical needs, pets, official guidance, and whether the home can still function safely. That timeline is the difference between a house full of supplies and a house with a plan. Pay attention to what happens next, because the most dangerous decision is often delayed too long. Now let us close the second loop through one ordinary household. A family of 4 had water in the closet, food in the pantry, and a small emergency bin under the stairs. But by the second morning, their bottled water was disappearing faster than their food. Not because they were careless people, because they had never assigned jobs to the water. They drank from the same case they used for cooking. They used clean drinking water to rinse dishes. The dog's bowl came from the same stack. Medication, hand washing, quick meals, and cleaning all pulled from the same supply. That is why people run out of usable water before food. Food is counted by meals. Water is spent by tasks. The solution is simple. Label it by purpose before the outage begins. Drinking water, cooking water, hygiene water, pet water, backup water. That single change protects the supply from disappearing silently. The same family made one more mistake. They owned gear, but the gear did not form a system. The lanterns were in 3 rooms. The batteries were in a junk drawer. The manual can opener was missing. The radio had not been tested. The freezer was opened every hour. The children did not know which room was safest. Nobody had written down the numbers they would need if the phones failed. The consequence was not disaster, it was confusion. By the next storm, they changed the house. 1 light station, 1 water station, 1 no-cook food bin, 1 written contact sheet, 1 freezer rule, 1 safe room, 1 time each day to check neighbors. The next outage was still uncomfortable, but it was no longer chaotic. The ancient record goes silent here, but the lesson remains. That closes the third loop.
People with fully stocked emergency kits still fail in the first 72 hours because a kit is not a system. A box of supplies cannot decide when the refrigerator stays closed. It cannot ration water. It cannot protect an elderly parent from heat. It cannot create safe cooking rules. It cannot tell a tired family when to leave. The kit holds objects. The system connects them. That is why the prepared family does better in the second version of the story. They did not become fearless, they became organized. They turned supplies into roles, rules, locations, and decisions. Supplies buy time, systems protect judgment. Here's the deeper lesson. Emergency preparedness is not about pretending you can control the grid. You cannot. It's about controlling the first small decisions inside your house: where the light is, where the water is, which food is eaten first, which room stays safest, which neighbor needs a check-in, which battery is saved for information, which meal requires no heat, which signal means it's time to leave. A blackout tests the structure of a household, not just the supplies, the structure. And structure can be built before the lights go out. You now know the real 72-hour timeline: control first, water second, food safety third, lighting and communication layered, sanitation protected, and the stay or leave decision made before fatigue makes it for you. Subscribe for the next file, leave a like so this information reaches the people who need it, and tell me in the comments which part of your household would fail first in a blackout: water, food, light, communication, heat, or control. The ones who prepare do not wait for the sirens.